Hey, from here. Welcome to Supersize Your Business. Today's idiom, today's expression, our financial idiom for the month of May is living on the breadline. Now, this idiom, this expression, I've actually never used this in the connotation that it is for its meaning or origin, and I'll share that in a minute. But when I hear breadline, I literally think the bread manufacturing line. I worked in giant industrial bakeries, audited bakeries, a lot of different bakeries over my years. So I've literally overseen the manufacturing, production, and quality and sanitation and processes with respect to making billions of loaves of bread. I was thinking hundreds of millions, and I thought about it. I'm like, no, it's probably more like billions, because in my Italian food manufacturing business, we had a bread line as well. We made garlic buttered bread, and we made millions and millions of loaves there. And in the companies I oversaw in corporate America, we literally made hundreds of millions in the different companies and oversaw hundreds of millions more. So lots and lots of bread. So living on the bread line to me means literally going down to the production floor and watching the bread production line. But what does it mean to most people? It's a term from the 1820s or the early 19th and 20th century, and it actually means extremely poor. In Britain, it's the level of income that defines poor or poverty. You're either above the poverty line or below the poverty line. In the United States, for a single person, that happens to be $35 a day or $12,760. For a family of four, it's about $72 a day, which I don't know about you, but that's a very small amount of money to create and live on. So I would say we need to find ways to have businesses that generate a lot more money than that if we want to be successful and survive. And if we're supersizing our business, like me, you probably have never experienced that or never even heard of that expression. It's when people have to survive by waiting in line for food. That's why it's called a bread line. That's either provided by a charity or by the government. The government in the excuse me, the times of the Depression, etc., and throughout other times in history, have provided agencies, and I'm sure they fund some of the nonprofit agencies that work today for food shelves and places to provide food for people. I would consider, but not necessarily, some of the school feeding programs for the lower income people, for their kids, to make sure that they have the energy they need to learn. That would be, I suppose, an example of a bread line. But I've actually never used this or heard this expression with respect to level of income. I've always thought of it as, hey, this is our manufacturing line. So curious what your experience has been with it. But my question for us today is, as we're thinking about this with respect to growing and supersizing our business, what does it mean to us? What do we do? What do you do? What do I do when prices go up, when we have high times of inflation? We're experiencing that right now, at least in the United States and probably globally. I haven't really been paying attention globally, but we're definitely experiencing it here in the US. We're having a huge spikes in every industry that I've been coming in contact with, in terms of the cost of things, as well as shortages and supplies. Supplies of things are now unavailable that have always been available to us in the United States. And so it's an adjustment, and we'll figure it out. There's always a solution, right? We can always find another way to get things done as long as we're creative. And I guess that's my biggest takeaway from this is when prices go up, when inflation is high, when supplies and things that we usually use aren't available, we have to get creative and find different solutions. I've had to do that in all my different businesses and areas and aspects of my life, as I'm sure you have as well. You know, what do we do when something like the COVID pandemic hits? Do we fold up and go home and wait it out? Or do we get creative and find other solutions, other ways to serve people or our community at large or different audiences, whatever's appropriate for the situation? What do we do when we have a health challenge, or a key player in our organization has a health challenge or gets in an accident, or something unforeseen happens to them? I guess COVID was a giant example of what do we do if everything blows up in our faces? And some people rose to the occasion and figured it out. Others are still struggling to unravel the mess that was created due to the pandemic and all the different ways it was handled. So what are we going to do? We're always going to look for a solution, the creative solution. What will work to, and not just short term to survive, but long term viability. What are we really going to do to deal with this particular problem or situation that's going on right now? So curious, have you ever heard the expression living on the breadline? I have not in this connotation anyway. Share in the comments below your experience with it, and I will be with you tomorrow for another financial related, financial well-being, financial idiom. They're not always about well-being, right? For the month of May. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I will be with you tomorrow.